Creative friends, in my previous video I talked about easy backgrounds using pattern paper or paper love as I love to call it. In this video we're going to look at how we can create interesting backgrounds using acrylic paint. Now I used three basic colors, any blue would do, any red and any yellow. And I want to do two things with it, and I want to show you how the way that you use your paint can give you different kinds of backgrounds, because in the first instance here I'm kind of intermixing the colors a lot and just moving in circles and then adding different colors as I feel like I want to balance that background a little bit. So I'm bringing in more yellow when it turns to become a little bit more muddled or green, and then balancing it out a little bit. But I wanted this dark moody background definitely. But then I stopped at one point and I left that one corner open, and I'll show you in a bit what I'm going to do with that. I brought in more of that yellow kind of tone into the background using my gold paint, and then I mixed a whole bunch just to see what color I end up with, and it's kind of this dark yummy purple color, and played with that on some plain cardstock just to finish off that paint. I didn't want to throw it out, so you can create little backgrounds on offcuts of paper and leave it for later and add your stamping and add stenciling and all sorts of things to it, and then use it to create backgrounds in your journals. So that's another idea. Then I used the same paint, but I used it in a different way. So I'm going to show you in a second what I'm doing with that, just faffing a little bit with my brushes. Right, so I placed down some dots and then just used a scraper to scrape that paint down, and you can see the colors are not mixing as I used to mix it in the first instance with my paintbrush. So I got totally different tones of that paper. I got the original tone actually, which is a lot more bright than in the first layout that I created here. So just to finish off the first one, I added my girl, and I also added a flutter of butterflies. Very simple layout, but very striking in the end. And that corner, right hand corner, just finished that with just painting it with the gold so that it has this shimmer. It feels like she is shining a light from inside. Right, and then I used a smaller version of the same girl, and I decided to use my stencil and just a little makeup sponge, and just dabbed a little bit of those flowers on top of that background layer to kind of tone it down just a little and add some more interest to it. So you can just play with the layering with your acrylic paints. Right, so I always suggest that you immediately clean that makeup brush, because paint dries hard, and then you would basically throw out that brush or that sponge, and then also clean out your stencils and your stamps when you use them immediately. If you form that brain habit, you will be able to have your tools last much longer. So cleaning things, you'll see I'm kind of very obsessed with the cleaning part of my surface and the things that I use, because it makes for an easier art experience if your stuff is clean for the next session when you want to dig back in. This second little journal piece, I'm also adding a flutter of butterflies, stacking them a little bit from her shoulder upwards, and then I selected some word fetty from the kit that I decided to use, and I'll try to link that down below as well. And then just ended off with a brush that a paintbrush that's kind of old, and it has kind of interesting effect that it creates through the bristles. That's kind of all over the place, so it gives nice streaks or adds streaks with that gold paint to it. So this is basically what I did, and I ended up with three pieces. The left one was a piece that I just incorporated in another journal entry, adding other elements to it in my little journal, so I didn't throw that experiment out. and then just added some small word fetty to the bigger piece and lined it with an acrylic brush pen, and also used my one of my white pens to line it. Just the white pen just gives it a little bit different, a smaller line, and so it just adds that little bit of detail. So it's not really necessary, but I like to end off by lining my artworks. I hope that you enjoyed this little video, and I'll see you in the next one soon.